Here in Tulgeywood TV, we like our little golden books, don't we? But did you know there's all kinds of golden books? For example, there's a first little golden book, a big little golden book, and even a giant golden book. But today we're going to be talking about big golden books, like this one I showed you in my video about Sleeping Beauty merchandise. This one has this great cover by Ivan Earle. And as always, all the big golden books have great art by great Disney artists. So let's take a look at this first one. As this is being filmed, Cruella, the live-action Disney film, has opened in theaters. Have you seen it? Let me know in the comments. But as I'm sure most of you know, Cruella comes from Walt Disney's 1961 animated feature. And of course, there's a big golden book version of that film. Now, you might notice that, as I think I've mentioned before, I'm never really very concerned about having mint copies or perfect copies of any of the things in my collection. As long as all the pages are here and I can read it, that's usually enough for me. So this is falling apart a little bit, but it doesn't change how great the art is. And I'll show you the back cover as long as it's been coming off. This great wraparound of not 101 Dalmatians, but Pongo, Perdita, and their 15 original puppies. You can tell because of the collars. And inside we have some great art. First of all, it starts with this map, which shows the settings of the film, all the way from London through the English countryside to Cruella's manor, which is, of course, Hell Hall, although I don't think that title is mentioned in this book. And the art is by Norman McGarry, who is kind of a staple of Western publishing. For example, he did many of the painted covers on the Disney giant comic books, and you've seen some of those covers in my video about the Disney giant comic books. Have you seen that video yet? Make sure you take a look if you haven't. And the illustrations are also by Sylvia Mattinson, who was the wife of Disney legend Bernie Mattinson, and she's a wonderful artist in her own right. Take a look at the great personality that is in these illustrations. It's really wonderful. And here's Cruella herself in all her ghastly glory. And this is kind of fun because here the artist even included the TV where the puppies are watching Walt Disney's Silly Symphony Springtime. Now, sometimes people, and even reference books, think that it's Flowers and Trees, the later Silly Symphony, but it's actually Springtime. So don't be fooled by those who think they know better than us. We know what's correct. Again, great personality and storytelling, and certainly Cruella is a big part of that storytelling. Now, just about all of Walt Disney's animated features were adapted into big golden books, and Pinocchio is no exception. This cover is just delightful, and if you're wondering where's Jiminy Cricket, well, he's on the back. This is not one of the wraparounds that we often see, but it's wonderful art in the back and a good way to incorporate Jiminy and not have to worry too much about his scale, because it's always a little challenging to show him, tiny as he is, with the other characters. Now, the art for this little golden book is by Al Dempster, who worked on so many of Walt Disney's animated productions. And he's regarded as one of the best, if not the best, of the Golden Book illustrators. He did so many. Certainly, he did the art for one of the Alice in Wonderland golden books that I showed you in my Golden Books 2x2 video. Be sure and check that out. Some of the earlier big golden books had this really beautiful motif of a pattern here in the borders, and that started right here on the cover. Continued here on the title spread. And then we can see there's all these little elements. And what a great way to incorporate some important characters that there might not be room for. So here we have Figaro and Cleo, and they're not featured in the main illustration, but it's a way to get them in. And they're the wonderful design elements as well. Here's Jiminy and some design elements representing Geppetto's workshop. Makes it very fun and ornate. Here are puppets for Stromboli's puppet show. And look at this. This is a great way to incorporate the donkeys into this composition really gives a dynamic feel to this illustration. It's kind of a complicated story to tell, so there's lots of text. I would say more than there usually is in a big golden book. The art is done naturally in such a way that it leaves room for it, and it all ties together so beautifully. So, a beautiful representation of that beautiful film in big golden book style. Are you enjoying what you see so far? If so, please remember to like this video and also remember to subscribe. You don't want to miss any of the new videos, shorts, and bonus episodes that are coming up. Here we're turning toward one of the most important of the Disney firsts. That is Walt's first animated feature, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And here again we have a beautiful representation of the film where we have the dwarfs grouped around Snow White with Bashful, just barely visible, peeking out. What a great idea. And again, we have kind of this motif capturing the carved look of the dwarf's cottage. And so Walt Disney's name is incorporated into this sort of carved look. And then this is a wraparound cover. So here in the back, we see the evil queen in her peddler woman disguise looking in the window, and also some of Snow White's animal friends as well. Snow White was released in 1937, but this big golden book was not published until 1952. And something that was being done in that era was the end papers show the setting of the film. So here we have the castle, the dwarf's cottage, the forest. It really sets up things so beautifully. And here's something very interesting. This is a scene cut from the finished film. It's rather a famous deleted scene now. This is the scene where the dwarfs build Snow White a bed as a gift. And here we see that the illustrator is Campbell Grant. Again, a Disney artist that worked on Walt Disney's films. In fact, he was an animator on Snow White. And this is something that happened in the first decades of the Golden Books because Walt Disney thought that if his artists were producing the art for these books, they would have an authenticity. Now, what's interesting about that is that Campbell Grant has a stylization. Doesn't slavishly produce the art from the film, almost like tracings or something. No, it's his own style. And Snow White has a very stylized look. For example, her face is quite different. We'll see some other examples as we go through the book, but to go back to the beginning, this is quite unusual. The famous fairy tale by the Grimm brothers had the story starting with Snow White's mother longing for a child. And that's where the whole idea of her having skin as white as snow, hair as black as ebony came from, because that was Snow White's mother's wish. And here's baby Snow White. And tragically, of course, Snow White's mother died and is replaced by the evil stepmother. Here again, a very stylized version of her. Now again, as we saw in the Pinocchio book, which was published about the same time, 1953, for that 1940 movie, we have these motifs in the borders. Here we have some sort of royal icons. Over here we have housekeeping implements, because poor Snow White is, of course, forced to be a servant in her own castle. And here we have some scary snakes and lizards and things, kind of symbolizing the evil of the queen. Now look at what's done here with the color. The queen is sort of in shadows, and that's all done through color. Masterful art from Campbell Grant here. It's all done very subtly. The same here, we have some scarier animals like bats and owls and snakes. Over here we have friendly animals when Snow White is done with her frightening flight through the forest, and she makes all these friends with the forest animals. Now, one thing that's interesting is that Campbell Grant gave sort of this polka dot pattern to Snow White's skirt. That is not seen in the film. And here again we can see the polka dot pattern which Snow White has on her skirt in the pages of this book, until she doesn't. So I'm not quite sure what that was all about, but it certainly makes it very interesting. And again, we can see the stylization. Snow White has kind of almost a glamour girl look, but it's very appealing and attractive. Here are the seven dwarfs, of course. wonderfully portrayed. Just some wonderful art throughout. And then in the end papers, we again see a setting, but it's showing the happily ever after ending of the story. The dwarfs waving goodbye to Snow White as she rides off with her prince into the castle in the clouds. Now, another thing to note, especially for collectors, is that these books were published for 30 or 40 years. So this edition of Snow White is the 19th printing, and it's from 1967. Of course, Snow White was re-released to the theaters for its 30th anniversary in 1967. And here we have truly one of the most beautiful of all the big golden books, Cinderella. This edition of Cinderella scoffs at 19 printings because this is the 46th printing from 1980. Can you imagine? And we can tell that by the more modern Golden Book logo down here. But at any rate, it certainly shows how beloved these books were and published again and again. We can see here the beautiful wraparound art showing Cinderella's world as a scullery maid in her own home, a cinder girl, if you will. And this beautiful art is by another Disney artist who represents another Disney first, Retta Scott Worcester. She was the first woman to work as an animator in a Disney film. And then later she became an illustrator, and her art is among the most unique and beautiful, certainly representing the film, but it's quite different really. Cinderella's seen as almost a little girl, even beyond the beginning of the story, where she is a little girl. See, we can see here. So she has a very unique take. One thing that's very interesting is that this book was published in 1950, concurrent with the release of the film, because big golden books were being published then, and they didn't have to play catch up with Cinderella. It was brand new. But that also means that she was preparing this art for publication before some of the designs and colors were finalized for the film. So when she saw the finished film, she was worried that her colors did not match the color of the ball gown that the fairy godmother creates in the film. And she expressed this to Roy O. Disney, Walt's brother and business partner, and he wanted to make her feel better about it all. So he said, "Don't worry, Cinderella's a princess. She can have as many dresses as she wants," which I find so charming. Now, of course, we're going to be revisiting big golden books in the future, and we're going to take another look at this Cinderella book in particular, and there's a special reason for that, and I think maybe some of you will know what it is. But in the meantime, allow me to remind you that daytime dresses are by Pat Perkins, men's fashions are courtesy of Botany 500, and as always, furs are courtesy of Dicker and Dicker of Beverly Hills.